The Road Construction Inspector, or CI, has a very important job to do. It is up to him or her to make sure that a road construction project is being carried out as planned, in every detail. Without proper inspection, the final product, which is a road that thousands of people may travel for many years, could fail. This failure may cost your tribe thousands of dollars to repair. Even worse, it could cost residents of your reservation their very lives. Welcome to this presentation on tribal road construction inspection and documentation. During this program, we'll explain the duties of the construction inspector and demonstrate the proper ways to carry out those duties. We'll closely examine the various reporting forms and other documents that you'll be using both in the field and in your office. The information we're presenting here is also available in the Road Work Ahead guide that accompanies this DVD, which contains more in-depth information on this subject. The guide also contains definitions of some of the terms we'll be using. We've got a lot of ground to cover here, so let's get started. To be a construction inspector, there are three basic things you must be able to do: observe, record, and communicate. That is, observe the details of what's happening at the construction site on a day-to-day basis. Record what you observe in a standardized way on a regular basis, and communicate what's happening to other individuals and agencies that need to know. In order to do the job properly, you should be the first person on the site each morning and the last person to leave at the end of the day. That way, you don't miss any critical construction activity. The main purpose of these tasks is to be able to confirm and document that the construction contractor is complying with the terms of his contract, which assures overall quality of the project and allows the project owner to make payments to the contractor. Every approved construction project starts with a set of plans and specifications that provide the details on all aspects of the job. It is part of the job of construction inspector to be thoroughly familiar with these plans and specs. So, before ever going to the construction job site, the inspector must take time to review these documents and mark up or use post-it notes to cross-reference items to watch. Every construction project accumulates various documents as the project progresses, and these documents must be organized and safeguarded, so they are usually kept all together in the project master file. This file box is something an inspector needs to access almost every day during a construction project. Now let's review the official duties of the construction inspector. If you have a copy of the guide, you may want to follow along in Part 1. Number 1. The inspector must be able to read, comprehend, and interpret all elements of the project plans and specifications. This includes such items as addenda, change orders, detail sketches, temporary traffic control plans, erosion and sediment control plans, as well as sampling and testing schedules. For definitions of these items, check the glossary in the back of the accompanying guide. Number 2. The inspector must keep and maintain daily construction reports of field observations of construction activities, materials, testings, equipment, employee working hours on the project, delays, weather conditions, unusual activities or events, mishaps, and accidents that occur at the job site, all being referenced to centerline stationing and pay items. Number 3. Keep and maintain a project diary for recording working hours on the project site, data relative to the extra materials or deductions, weather effects, list of visitors to the site, conversations and discussions of differing opinions or disagreements with the contractor that may result in disputes or delays, including rejections and reasons. The daily diary should be signed by the field representative each day. Number 4. The inspector must be able to identify and note any unsatisfactory materials or work. Clearly inform the contractor superintendent of any unacceptable or defective work or materials with a written follow-up and copies sent to the COR. Number 5. Check that all materials arriving on the project site are in compliance with the project specification requirements. Obtain test reports, analyses, and manufacture certificates prior to the incorporation of materials into the project. Number 6, confer with the COR and contractor on the monthly estimates for pay requests. Verify the work completed and assure quantities indicated on the estimate match the recorded quantities. Number 7, make sure that all permits are obtained and posters to be publicly displayed are in place. Number 8, attend the pre-construction conference, progress meetings, and any project-related conferences when contract work activities permit. So to recap, can anyone tell me the 3 basic tasks a construction inspector must be able to perform? Yep.
Observe, record, and communicate?
That's right. Observe, record, and communicate. Now, before we go on, does anyone have any other questions? Yep.
If a contractor is out of compliance in the contract, are you supposed to make him stop and tell him what he's doing wrong?
No, the inspector can't tell the contractor to stop work, nor can he tell the contractor what to do, and we'll cover this in a little more detail in a few minutes. The inspector's duties include monitoring the quality of materials and the quality of work, as well as interacting with the contractor's representatives on a day-to-day basis. These duties are as follows. Number 1, check stakeout, survey, or other prescribed specifications required in order to perform the work included in the construction contract.
5-4.
Number 2, answer technical questions of the construction contractor, clarifying but not changing the construction contract requirements. Number 3, measure or verify the quantities of work performed for the project owner's receiving report. Number 4, make qualitative or quantitative judgments that may be required by the contract at the site of the work. For example, determining if specific sections of guardrail can be salvaged. Inspectors' duties include providing current documentation on project progress, using systems and methods developed by the tribe, by BIA, or the government agency responsible for the project. This documentation will include these components. Number 1, the inspector's daily diary, which provides narratives of activities, events, and discussions that have occurred at the job site. Number 2, the daily log, which records all contractor activities, including number of hours worked by each contractor employee and equipment location. Number 3, results of measurements, computations, and other activities supporting payment for all items in the contract. We'll cover this in more detail later. Number 4, a monthly report and estimate of quantities to keep the project owner updated on the status of the project. Number 5, test results, measurements, and other documentation verifying the adequacy of the contractor's quality control systems and compliance with the terms of the contract. Number 6, labeled photographs of the different construction operations, providing a pictorial record of the project's construction stages. We'll discuss this in more detail later. Number 7, survey notes and records of other measurements that are for the project owner's final record to check, adjust, or locate the various features of the project as they are constructed. An original of each of these items should be provided to the project owner and becomes property of the project owner. We had a question earlier about what an inspector can and cannot do on a job site. Inspectors have very limited authority. Essentially, an inspector doesn't have the authority to tell anyone on the project what, when, or how to do anything. Remember, the inspector is there to observe and record. Also, an inspector must record any deviation from the project contract plans and specifications and notify the contractor and the project manager. However, as I said earlier, the inspector cannot stop or cause any delays of the work in progress, except for imminent life-threatening situations. Discussions concerning the contractor's organization, equipment, construction methods, or efficiency shall be handled by the project engineer, not the inspector. Also, orders that alter the contractor specifications or create additional liability to the project owner must come from the project engineer. The inspector shall not advise or give instructions to contractor personnel regarding construction procedures or techniques. but should only ask what they are doing.
What if you see an unsafe practice on a job site? Say a dozer operator is not wearing his hard hat.
Record what you observe in your diary, then inform the contractor superintendent and the project manager about what you saw. It is the responsibility of the inspector's employer to provide the proper attire and equipment for the project. This is for the inspector's own safety and effectiveness. An inspector must wear to the job site a hard hat, steel-toed safety shoes, safety vest, and other items such as goggles or dust masks when needed. The necessary bound diaries, daily and weekly report forms, and other documents must be provided by the inspector's employer. Items that construction inspectors often use in the field include infrared thermometer, engineering scale, calculator, measuring tape, and field guide for work zone traffic control. There are several standardized reporting documents used by inspectors to report construction activities in daily, weekly, and monthly units of time. For example, there's a project diary, the daily log, and the weekly construction report. We'll go over each of these one at a time. Every road construction project must have a diary, and every inspector must write what happens on the job site in that diary every day. The diary is a bound book that is designed in such a way that no pages can be added or removed. These books of bound, lined pages are available from many sources, including the federal government's GSA printing office. The project diary is one of the most important records made during the progress of construction. Diary entries should therefore be factual, concise, complete, legible, and written in ink. When properly maintained, the project diary provides valuable information and evidence when disputes about the project arise later. You should include the following information in your diary: date, names of visitors to the site and purpose of visit, progress of construction work, explanations of why work was not completed on schedule, accidents that occur on site, the substance of important conversations with the contractor, comments on construction safety, comments on traffic control and signage, discussion of erosion control and other environmental concerns, any information not covered in other reports that may have a bearing on future developments. Remember to sign each day's entry with a full signature, not just initials. The diary is considered to be an official government document. It is to be safeguarded and turned in with all other project records at the conclusion of a project. The use of tape recorders, sketches, and photographs during construction is considered very beneficial, particularly if disputes arise later. Tapes, drawings, and photographs should be noted in the diary. Photographs can be an important part of a project's records. The old saying, "A picture is worth 1,000 words," applies here. Photos serve to document unusual occurrences, such as mudslides, cave-ins, floods, or actual conditions when a contractor alleges differing site conditions. They can also document unusual construction features, non-conforming material or methods, accidents involving death, personal injury, or property damage, encroachments within the right-of-way, and other such occurrences and conditions. They are invaluable as evidence in case a controversy develops during the construction contract which results in litigation. They are especially useful when a construction contract encompasses a long period of time, as much as 2 or 3 years. As memories fade and project personnel are transferred to other projects, photographs provide direct evidence of the conditions that existed at the time the dispute arose. Clarity of the photo and good composition are very important, and proper identification is necessary. The back of the photo should be labeled with the name of the photographer, the date taken, and the location. No photo log is required as long as the photos are properly identified. The daily log is a specific form that must be filled out and submitted at the end of each workday. It summarizes required, specific information about that day's construction activities. In combination with the project diary, the The daily log will supply support documentation for negotiation with the contractor concerning contract modifications, price adjustments, and possible claims. Some of the information that goes into the diary will also go into the daily log. One major difference is the diary always contains information about conversations with the contractor or his representative and a narrative description of the work in progress. The daily log, on the other hand, reports the day's weather conditions, locations and number of men, which equipment is working and which is not, and the amount of production. The daily log shall be used to document the details of all construction operations that require inspections for conformance with plans and specifications. This form provides a concise, readily retrievable record of equipment time and man hours for each significant construction operation underway on the job site. This record will help verify contractors' costs to justify payments, adjustments, or claims. An important fact to remember is the failure to record an event in the log carries with it the implication that the event did not occur or was insignificant, and also threatens the credibility of the entire log. The inspector's daily logs are to be filed in the project master file at the completion of the project. Yes?
Do weather conditions go in the diary as well as the daily log?
You can put them in both if it's helpful, but that information is required in the daily log. A part of the project specs for every construction project is something called the minimum sampling schedule. This document contains the requirements for minimum testing and sampling of the materials delivered to the project. This document dictates what type of materials testing and sampling must be done, and it is part of the inspector's job to track these items. The purpose of the sampling and testing performed on the projects is to determine whether or not materials being used match the project specification. There are several items used to document sampling and testing on the project. First, there's the daily volume record. You use this form to record the delivery of all materials for the project. It provides spaces to enter the load number, truck number, time of day, location, and the volume of material. Material receipts and weight tickets that come with every load are stapled to the back of this form because they verify what you've entered on the daily volume record. A new daily volume record sheet is started each day of the project. Project specifications contain sections labeled Method of Measurement and Basis of Payment for each item of work. These dictate what units of measurement are to be used for the materials and on what basis a contractor can be paid. The daily volume record is used to track these items and to check against planned quantities. These records are transferred to the daily log each day. The construction contractor must provide certifications of compliance for all materials to be placed on the roadway before they are installed. These certificates are to be retained at the job site and are to be included in the project master file. Inspectors must assure that every delivery meets specifications by checking the bill of lading. More specific instructions about asphalt inspection are located in the accompanying guide. Next, there's a control sheet for all testing compliance for each project. This sheet indicates the minimum tests to be taken for each item of construction to assure that adequate samples and tests are conducted during each phase of construction. The original of this form is maintained by the inspector, and a copy is submitted weekly to the project manager. Not all projects require the placement of culverts, but on those that do, detailed records of their installation must be kept. A document known as the culvert book is the primary source of information regarding the installation of culverts, if project plans call for them. Using the project ledger pages for documentation, records for the culvert book include the record of structural excavations if payment is provided for, complete and detailed stakeout notes for each installation, including sketches, stake locations and offsets, and information on stakes, description of structure such as cattle guard, culvert, reinforced concrete box culvert, bridge, catch basin, drop inlet, etc. References to material certification must be included. Size, length, location, skew, invert elevations, grades, date of staking, and date of installation or construction of structure with test notation and results. Finally, quantities of rock, steel, and/or concrete, slope protection, riprap, or other items used in conjunction with the structure. The weekly construction report is a valuable tool for summarizing key information on a weekly basis. This report keeps the project owner and the contracting officer up to date on the project's progress. This report calls for very specific information to be summarized and generally covers major portions of the project as follows: the major types of work being performed during the week and units accomplished. The construction progress being made is indicated by individual contract deliverables and % complete. Weather conditions and amount of man-hours clocked for the week. The equipment put into or taken out of service, and brief narrative summaries including engineering comments, overall construction comments, plus general remarks on the issues affecting the project's progress, including delays. In summary, I'd like to stress that the construction inspector plays a critical role in the execution of a road construction project, a project that could take several months and cost millions of dollars. Without the alert eyes and ears of the inspector, this project may not meet the standards and specifications it takes to create a safe, long-lasting byway that reservation residents may use for decades to come. To review the information presented here, or for more information on the important aspects of the inspector's job, refer to the manual, Roadwork Ahead, that accompanies this program. And good luck to you on your next construction project.